My last Super Bowl that I called was the game in Las Vegas.
I know it very fondly.
I went up on the victory platform and someone had started singing Viva Las Vegas into my microphone.
I let that run out a little too long. I apologize about that.
It was perfect. We've had some great moments on those platforms. I never told you this. One time there was a show premiering on CBS after an AFC championship game. So I got up there with the Lamar Hunt trophy and they're telling me we got to get through this, make it really fast. And Patrick answers a question and I'm looking at you as he's answering it, letting you know I'm coming to you next. And they're saying in my ear, do not go another question. So I said, hey, before we go, Travis, come over here real quick. Congratulations. And this was the first time you went on the you've got to fight for your right to party. But the F in fight dragged on so long, you've got to. And I thought, not only have I been guilty of insubordination, I've just walked into an F-bomb on the CBS television network, maybe.
Welcome to the pod. Welcome to Brian's World. I am your host, the ambassador of Kansas City, Kansas City's favorite son, Brian B. Shynin, and I am so glad that you're here with me this week. So blessed and you're so appreciated because I know and I realize you literally could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're here with me. I love and appreciate you for that. I am not going to waste your time. Just make sure that you tap in to my fam at Foolish Club Media, where you can like, subscribe, rate, review, all of that at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on YouTube. And of course, while you're at YouTube, go in the search bar, search Brian B. Shynin or B. Shynin, whichever one you want. Follow the B. Shynin page. That's all you need to do on YouTube. I got some monetization goals. I got some sub goals I'm trying to reach, and we are getting ever so close. So I would really appreciate it and love you a lot if you were to subscribe to the B. Shynin page. And of course, Brian's World drops bi-weekly. I got my Hustle and Shine in the morning content. I got Motivational Minute, R&B Shining. I got hella stuff over there at the B. Shynin page. Just make sure that you subscribe and tap in with me. This week on the pod, I'm going to be talking about Andy Reid and his ability to evolve again. Of course, towards the end of last year, we saw the team just kind of just wear down and break down. A lot of that was mental. Can Andy Reid get it right and evolve once again in his career? We'll talk about it. The Raws moving downtown, possibly. All signs seem to be pointing to that. A lot of thoughts about that, how it would affect the city, what downtown might actually look like now. We'll get into that. Evolving beyond the streets. Recently in hip-hop, it was a situation where rapper Gucci Mane, who's now a business owner with this record label, he actually got robbed by his own artist who was signed to his label. His name is Pooh Shiesty, and there's a lot of conversations about, is Gucci Mane a snitch? Did he do the right thing? Blah, blah, blah. We'll get into that later on in the pod with a very important conversation. And then whenever I get a chance to talk a little WWE, I'm going to do it. Especially when Shawn Michaels, he just dropped a documentary on Peacock. I'll explain to you why Shawn Michaels, the HBK, is my GOAT. All of that and more is coming up on this episode of Brian's World.
To me, Andy's kind of cemented at one for a couple of years. I mean, he went to 6 Super Bowl. He won, 3 or 4. And I mean, this guy, I don't know. I have a hard time moving Andy to 2 just off one bad season.
Andy Reid facing a real critical year this year. And there are so many things that was just going against him from last year leading up until this year. The Chiefs had their worst record in the Mahomes era last year, and the Andy Reid era last year, I should say. There's uncertainty with his quarterback. Mahomes is hurt. Of course, the offseason knee injury, not going to know if he's himself all the way yet, this year. And then Andy Reid is the oldest coach in the league, 68 years old. that usually doesn't bode well in the history of the league. And you take a look at it. I think Bruce Arians was the other oldest coach in the league who won a Super Bowl in his 70s, I believe. Or was it in his 60s? Not really sure, but I know Bruce Arians was the oldest coach in the league at the time when Tampa Bay beat us in the Super Bowl 5-6 years ago, whenever that was in 2021. Also, he's replacing several members of his coaching staff. And this is where the evolution, I think, comes from Andy Reid. And actually trusting other people to do other things, enhancing a run game, and trying to help develop younger players on this roster. Andy Reid is what, 68? And so trying to connect and trying to really teach and reach. I'm not saying that Andy Reid has this problem now. I'm not saying this, but I can imagine there could be some hurdles to cross when a 68-year-old coach is trying to instill some game into a 22, 23, 24-year-old player. There could be some hurdles there. There could be some miscommunication there. I don't necessarily think that's a problem for Andy Reid, although I'm not ruling it out all the way. With older coaches, sometimes they just have a hard time trying to connect with younger players. Hell, we saw with Bill Belichick, he got to a point to where he's like, I only want to coach players who I like. Well, you're probably not going to be successful with that, because in all forms of work, we have to work with people who we don't necessarily get along with, or that we have different personality traits with, or whatever. But that's just one of the reasons why older coaches have a problem in the NFL with younger players sometimes. I just think that Andy Reid has to focus in more so on his run game. And this is why I love the fact that two things. One, the Chiefs signed Kenneth Walker, made an actual investment in the running back position. And then two, the fact that Eric Bieniemy is now the offensive coordinator. People look down on that. I don't. I think familiarity breeds familiar ground. That's what we had. Look at what the Chiefs were when Eric Bieniemy was the offensive coordinator. The Chiefs led the NFL in offensive points scored, efficiency, offensive EPA, total QBR, and yards per play, plus third down conversion percentage. That was without Kareem Hunt, by the way, and with the Chiefs being, hell, they were better than the tush push last year with Kareem Hunt and 3rd and 2, 4th and 1, 3rd and 1 situations or whatever. And the Chiefs were also first under Eric Bieniemy as offensive coordinators with touchdown per attempts and first downs. And the last time Mahomes won MVP was when Eric Bieniemy was the offensive coordinator, and we won the Super Bowl that year. All of those things combined, that's why I love the move with Eric Bieniemy. Now, okay, yeah, that was 4 years ago. That was, a totally different team. Okay, fine, whatever. Bieniemy will just have to prove it again. And this is one thing that's getting lost with so many sports media, commentators around Kansas City. It's like, do y'all not watch football? Or do you just watch the box score? Or do you just watch the highlights? That's what I'm getting from these guys, because all over sports media Kansas City, I'm hearing, why make this investment in a running back? Why make this investment in a running game? Why, this is not a passing league. Did you watch football last year? Did you see who the MVP was in the Super Bowl? Oh, the guy that's on our team wearing number 9, the running back. See, the running game returned 2 years ago. It wasn't just last year. Last year was kind of like an exclamation point. But to me, it really began with Saquon Barkley hopping on the Eagles and Jonathan Taylor with the Colts. There were so many running backs who broke out and had big seasons the past couple of years or so. And you can see the way the defensive philosophy, and I talked about it on this podcast before, the defensive philosophy now is to have 2 high back to stop the pass, which leaves a light box. You notice there are not as many linebackers playing in today's NFL as it used to be. So this passing league that we're accustomed to saying that the NFL is, it's not a passing league right now, y'all. That's what you see. But what's really winning games and what's really heightened the offensive efficiency for a lot of teams is the running game, y'all. This is what the Chiefs have been missing the past I want to say 3 years on this team. Ever since Pacheco really got hurt, when he got that serious, was it ankle injury or whatever it was, the Chiefs running game took a nosedive. And the offense took a nosedive. Of course, Matt Nagy being the offensive coordinator has something to do with that as well. And the lack of development with the wide receivers has something to do with that as well. But it's really, man, a hurt offensive line has something to do with that as well. So it's really been mostly all up to Mahomes. But this building needs some new thinking. It needs some new ideas. And that's why I think that hiring Eric Bieniemy is so important. And it needs a kick in the ass. This team needs some discipline. Nate Taylor, writer for ESPN, he recently wrote an article about Andy Reid and Clark Hunt, saying that he's rejuvenated after a long off season. And I'm reading that inside the Chiefs training facility, like, things were not consistent at all. Like, some players' habits in meeting rooms and on the practice fields. And in previous years, some players' attention to detail. That's from Nate Taylor. And y'all don't think Eric Bieniemy is gonna make a difference in that? Please. I once saw Eric Bieniemy. I was at Chiefs training camp 2014, I believe. DeAnthony Thomas. He was a rookie that year. He half-assed finishing a play. And it was like a long play. It was like a 60-yard play or whatever, but he half-assed finished it. Eric Bieniemy came screaming down. I want to say 30, 20 yards. I mean, he laid in his ass.
Pause. That was crazy.
And I think he sat him down for the remainder of the practice or something like that. The point is, he didn't finish the play. He didn't finish the touchdown. He thought that the play was over, or, he was lollygagging towards the end. But that accountability, though, for a head coach or for a coach or an assistant or whoever to come down, racing down. And Eric Bieniemy wasn't even an OC back then. He was the running backs coach. Came down and got in his ass so bad. Pause. Eric Bieniemy ran down and just got on him like he was his daddy. Like, the way that he was yelling and the language he was using towards DeAnthony Thomas. But it's that accountability factor, man. When you see somebody whose standards is high, where the bar automatically goes high when they walk in a room because you're going to have your shit together. Yeah, that's what Eric Bieniemy does for this team. And that's what this team has been missing. And like I said on this pod last year, you think Matt Nagy has that kind of presence to where he will walk in a room and people will just automatically straighten up? Nah. Eric Bieniemy got that presence, though. He does. We've seen it. So Eric Bieniemy, being on his staff, you'll see an improvement immediately in the efficiency of the Chiefs offense. And with just the overall team, other players on the team as well. If the offense heightens their play, the defense, they're going to heighten their play too. The defense pays attention to Eric Bieniemy too. It's just not the offense whose accountability is going to be spoken on. It's the entire team, man. It's infectious. Other issues that this team was having last year that was very concerning: 1-9 and one-score games. And a lot of people in the offseason last year was saying, well, that's going to catch up with the Chiefs. And I really thought it was malarkey, because I just believe that the Chiefs were the best in the league in those type of situations, in those close situations where you need just one score to get up out of here and to waste time or whatever. You put it on Mahomes, he make it happen. Not the case last year as the Chiefs were 1-9, and it was the worst record in the league at one-score games. We went from being the best one-score team in the NFL in 24 to last year being the worst. But as offensive success in the NFL is redefining itself with the running game, again, coming to prevalence. The Texans and the Raiders were the only teams below 40% success rate when it came to running the ball last year. And this pass happy era in the NFL, I'm telling y'all, it is gone. It's done. Will it come back? Can it come back? Maybe. But right now, with the way that teams are playing defense, the defensive philosophy, it calls for you to run the ball with these light boxes. There could be some boring games that we watch this year. It could be. That's fine. Especially with Mahomes coming off injury. He needs as much help as possible. I want y'all to take a second and think about this for a second. Who has been the best running back that Patrick Mahomes has had since he's been with the Chiefs? And I think about it, Damian Williams, I guess Kareem Hunt in 18 before he got suspended. Kareem Hunt in 17, I guess his rookie year too. What, Le'Veon Bell? No. Clyde? No. Pacheco? No, even though he had a hot start. Spencer Ware? Was he on the team with Sharkandrick West? So you look at all these running backs. At first, the answer now is Kenneth Walker III. We know that answer right now. But before him, like look at the list of running backs that Mahomes has had and the lack of help he's had in the backfield. Kareem Hunt, yes, he was probably the best one besides Kenneth Walker III that we have now. But you match Mahomes up now with somebody in that backfield who poses a real threat, who can bring those safeties down, who could load up those boxes a little bit more. So now you got one-on-one opportunities on the outside. That's what having a dynamite running game is going to do for this Chiefs team coming up this year. But again, I go back to one of the points I had at the top. The Chiefs have to get better at running that ball and with developing some of the Chiefs' younger guys. On offense specifically, I think the Chiefs do a dynamite job of developing young guys defensively because they draft all of them. But not necessarily on the offensive side, especially you look at the wide receiver room. Rice, has he developed since he's came in the league? Maybe a little bit, but he's not a bona fide number one wide receiver. Not right now. No. First off, he gets in trouble too much, and he drops the damn ball. The last 2 years, his first year in 23, he wasn't that bad at dropping balls. He might have dropped a few. 24, of course, he got hurt. But last year, there were so many games. I think the Denver game and the Dallas game, Rashee Rice had two critical drops. Worthy, he hasn't developed yet. As a legit bona fide wide receiver, it seems like he might be a one or two trick pony. And then you look at Josh Simmons, Kingsley Sumatai, Tyquan Thornton. They have to develop these guys, and they have to develop more running backs too, in order for the Chiefs to have more sustained success and to extend this dynasty we currently in.